Mahama Alidu,
having been elected a member of parliament, do,
having been elected a member of parliament, do,
in the name of the Almighty God, swear
in the name of the Almighty God, swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana,
as by law established, that I will uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana,
and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana,
and that I will faithfully
and conscientiously
discharge the duties of a member of parliament. So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable members, thank you for taking the oath. You are most welcome. And I'll hold you to two oaths that you've sworn, particularly the one where you clearly stated that you faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of parliament. To enable you to discharge those duties, I'll first give you the hoe and the cutlass. You don't go to your farm without the hoe or the cutlass. And so on a daily basis, I observe members when they walk in. Please, even though I'm 33 years here, on a daily basis, I still refer to the Constitution and the standing orders. There's always something to learn every day. And so I'm going to hand this over to you. There are other documents that the clerk's office will make available to you. And please, if you really want to perform your duties well, you have to put them and sleep with them. There's a lot that you have to learn. Whether you are a professor, or you are a farmer, or you are from anywhere, you have come to a new school. And that school starts from crèche. And you are starting from crèche today. Please don't assume that because of your capacity in other areas, you know it. You don't know it. You have to start learning. Please. Your seniors will do the usual thing. You've all been to school and you've all passed through to the university, you've gone through. You know what seniors do to juniors. Don't be deterred and intimidated. You can perform better than them. Please. But at least, ask for the respect, the reverence you have to give it to them, because they were born before you. And so, on behalf of the House and the members, I hand over this first to the Member of Parliament for the Akwatia constituency. And second, to the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central.
We can come, okay.
Honorable members, Honorable members, on your behalf, I warmly welcome the two freshest members of Parliament to our midst. And we are happy now to have the full complement of the House. We now have 276 members of Parliament. Please, the number is no longer 275. We have 276. And anytime the number increases, we have to create space for the member. So please, it's a plea that before this number increases, you must, as a country, as a republic, start looking for a proper place. If not, the integrity of this structure is being undermined. A word to the wise is enough. By our standing orders, we now move to item 4, which is national pledge. All of you, I'll listen to you delivering your pledges to the nation, not one by one. You do it together. You do it together, please. Let's be on our feet. Honorable members, I promise on my honor Thank you so much. Please, you may resume your seats. I believe that this is also a strong message to all Ghanaians, particularly our gallant Black Stars. Every Ghanaian must learn how to recite the national pledge, and at the appropriate time, recite it with joy. You have to. Please, don't be mumbling. It's a very short one, very easy to recite. I have a few messages from His Excellency the President. Some I'll read, others I'll call on the Office of the Official Report to capture them verbatim as they have been presented to this House. The one I will read deals with the nomination of the Chief Justice. The letter is dated 7th October 2025, and it reads, Right Honorable Speaker, nomination of Chief Justice. Following consultations with the Council of State, conveyed by its letter dated 14th October 2025, and in accordance with Article 144, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, I have the honor to respectfully submit for the approval of Parliament the nomination of Justice Paul Bafubone as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Justice Bafubone has distinguished himself through unwavering integrity, sound judicial temperament, and a deep commitment to the rule of law. His long and meritorious service on the Supreme Court has been characterized by professionalism, fairness, and a passion for justice. He possesses the necessary leadership, administrative competence, and vision to advance ongoing reforms within Ghana's justice system and to further strengthen public confidence in the judiciary. Attached are the nominees' curriculum vitae and supporting documents to facilitate the vetting process. I trust that Parliament will expedite the approval process in accordance with constitutional requirements. Please accept, Mr. Speaker, the assurances of my highest regard. John Dramani Mahama, signed. Honorable members, I accordingly proceed to refer the said nomination to the appropriate committee, and that is the Appointments Committee, to do the public hearing and submit a report to the House for consideration. As you know by our rules, other members of Parliament are permitted to attend the sittings of the committee, in fact, all committees. It's just that you don't have the right of vote, but you can attend to assist your colleagues. We trust that this will be done in accordance with the laws of this country. And at the end of the day, please, we'll give you ample time for us to assist His Excellency to make sure that the confidence in the arms of government are restored and enhanced. The nominee is accordingly referred to the Appointments Committee for consideration and report to the House. There are two more that I have to read. One deals with the demise of our compatriots. And so we've been given notice of it. The letter is dated 7th August 2025, and it reads, Right Honorable Speaker, notice of demise. It is with profound sorrow and a heavy heart that I write to inform you formally and the Honorable House of the tragic loss of two distinguished ministers of state. One, Honorable Dr. Edward Omanibuama, Minister for Defense. And two, Honorable Dr. Mohammed Mutala, Minister for Environment, Science, and Technology. These two exemplary public servants, whose contributions to national duty were marked by diligence, patriotism, and an abiding commitment to the public good, sadly lost their lives in a fatal helicopter crash on the 6th of August 2025. We are also deeply grieved to report additional casualties. 1. Alhaji Muniru Mohammed. 2. Dr. Samuel Sapon. 3. Mr. Samuel Abuaje. 4. Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala. 5. Flying Officer Chum Ampadu. And 6. Sergeant N.S. Adu. Please accept, Right Honorable Speaker, the assurances of my highest consideration. Signed, John Dramani Mahama. Honorable members, I think it's proper for us to stand in honor to give our departed compatriots 1 minute silence. May their souls and the souls of all the faithfully departed rest in perfect peace. Amen. Honorable members, as a result of the sudden departure in such a horrific manner of our 2 ministers of state, His Excellency has proceeded to designate caretaker ministers. The letter to me is dated 7th August 2025, and it reads, Right Honorable Speaker, designation of caretaker ministers. Following the tragic demise of the Honorable Minister for Defense and the Honorable Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, I wish to respectfully notify Parliament through your esteemed office of interim ministerial arrangements pending the appointment of substantive ministers. In accordance with the constitutional responsibility to ensure the continuous and effective administration of government, I have designated the following officials to serve in the caretaker capacity. 1. Dr. Kasiel Atuba Forson, MP, Minister for Finance, will additionally serve as caretaker Minister for Defense. And 2, Honorable Emmanuel Ama Kofi Boa, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, will assume additional responsibility as caretaker Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Please accept, Right Honorable Speaker, the renewed assurances of my highest consideration. Signed, John Dramani Mahama. The rest of the other letters, the communication from His Excellency, deals with absence from Ghana. And there are a number of them. And I will, on your behalf, refer them to the Office of the Official Reporting to capture them verbatim in our proceedings as having been read to the House. Please, with your kind permission, I do so now. They are accordingly referred to the Hansard office. In view of the nature of business before the House, item 6 will just be to warmly welcome you all to the third meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. I'm happy you took the recess seriously, and from the reports I have, many of you interacted with your constituents on whose behalf you are here. I'm informed that you shared information with them on the work of Parliament, and you received a lot of inputs from your constituents. Committees also took advantage to visit a number of places, particularly government agencies and projects, to play their oversight role. There were a number of delegations to represent Ghana outside, particularly as now they place a lot of emphasis on parliamentary diplomacy. It's becoming a function, not just a duty, a function of parliaments in the world, parliamentary diplomacy. Apart from that, a lot of you also took time to benchmark, learn from other jurisdictions so that we could adopt and adapt what is suitable to our situation in Ghana, and you equally shared what we have there with our brothers and sisters all over the world. We will deal with them in detail later on. My duty is just to welcome you, and you are to expect the agenda of this meeting from the clerk to Parliament. You'll be given copies. We haven't finalized it because leadership are still in discussion with the government so that we could get total government business for this meeting. For parliamentary business, we have what we have to do for this third meeting. And some of you are also submitting private businesses, which are all part of the business of the House. So we've not firmed it up yet until leaders, together with the ministers, come out with a position, which by the procedure, the Speaker has to admit before it's referred to the clerk, who will put it before the business committee for them to schedule weekly for our attention. So please, you are warmly welcome, and I'll proceed now to give opportunity to your leaders. If they have some words, they will share with us before we get to the next item. And I'll do so by starting with the minority leader, Please, Minority Leader, you have some time to say a few words of welcome to your colleagues from the recess. We say recess. They recede from plenary session to engage in the other functions of the House outside plenary session. So they don't go, members of Parliament don't go on holidays or vacation. They recede to continue to do the work of Member of Parliament. I think it's something that we have to consider, because the Labour Act expects that you should also have some leave. Some leave is done all over the world. Members of Parliament have leave so that you can rest. Those of us who have sacrificed all these years, we know how our families have been destroyed, because you never have time for your family. You never have time for people dear to your heart, the people that you grew with, and sometimes they don't spare you. Please, let's think over it, discuss with our neighbors outside the Parliament, and at least get a few days to have some breathing space, if not to rest, but to share love with your immediate family members. With this, Honorable Minority Leader, you may proceed to make your comments.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to make my remarks as we reconvene for the third meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I begin by warmly welcoming your good self, your deputies, honorable colleagues in leadership, and all members of this House back to our legislative duties. I also extend this welcome to the Clerk to Parliament and his deputies, the dedicated staff of parliamentary service, and members of the Parliamentary Press Corps, whose support remains invaluable to the work we do. Mr. Speaker, during the recess, we were struck with sorrow with the passing of 8 distinguished citizens who served Ghana with dedication and honor. We mourn our respected colleague, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, and Minister for Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation. We also remember Dr. Edward Omani-Boama, Minister for Defense, Alhaji Muniru Mohammed, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator, the Deputy Dr. Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of National Democratic Congress, and Samuel Abuaje, former parliamentary candidate, Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Adu Mensah. Mr. Speaker, the minority extends its deepest condolences to their families, loved ones, and all who mourn their loss. May their soul rest in perfect peace. Even as we are inspired by their dedicated service to recommit to public service with dignity, courage, and honor. Mr. Speaker, we have today also welcomed 2 new members of Parliament, a member for Akwitia and Tamale Central. Their arrival is a solemn reminder of both the grief we share and the hope we carry for renewed service. Mr. Speaker, the state of our nation's governance presents a mix of trials and opportunities, from economic hardship on the home front to unsettling development on the international stage. These past months have indeed tested our resilience as a country. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians remain concerned about the economy. While recent indicators show modest macroeconomic gains, these are yet to bring real relief to the ordinary citizen. The truth is, stabilization means little if the youth remain unemployed and families still struggle with the cost of living. The mass dismissals across key state institutions represent a direct assault on the integrity of public service. Competent officers who were employed have been sacked from office under directives from the Chief of Staff. These dismissals were carried out without due process, without cause, and in clear violation of constitutional and statutory provisions. These are politically motivated acts that undermine professionalism, weaken state institutions, and erode public confidence in governance. The recent labor unrest whilst we were on break shows a clear public discontent. Over 200 junior doctors have worked for 10 months without pay, and more than 800 remain unposted. Newly trained teachers and nurses have also gone months without salaries. These are the stories of hardship people face. A government that fails to pay its frontline workers cannot claim to care for its people. Mr. Speaker, it must be emphasized that the MPP government, whilst in office, initiated the 1D1F. This was conceived as a vehicle to drive industrial growth and create sustainable jobs through private sector participation. However, government actions in recent months show a clear lack of commitment to that vision. Instead of providing real support to existing private sector jobs and easing the cost of doing business, bureaucracies are being created, frustrating investors and entrepreneurs. This stifles innovation, discourages productivity, and risks choking the public sector with inefficiencies that private sector was meant to relieve. But, Mr. Speaker, no economy can grow when private sector initiative is replaced with political control. The time has come for government to walk the talk of ensuring that the private sector becomes the real engine of growth. Enough of the rhetorics. The 24-hour economy must not be an empty talk. It must provide a hope for many youths who expect jobs. Mr. Speaker, on the governance front, governance is about upholding freedom, justice, and the rule of law. The frequent arrests of opposition figures, journalists, and ordinary citizens on flimsy and politically motivated charges exemplify a pattern of harassment intended to silence dissent. They paint a troubling picture of a shrinking civic space in our democracy. Even more disturbing, young Ghanaians expressing frustration on social media have been targeted, questioned, and in some cases detained. The question we ask as a minority is this the reset we were promised or an era of regression into intolerance? Mr. Speaker, the case of David Afo-Kodjo-Pra, a young man known on social media as Kwame Nkrumah #2, highlights the disturbing double standards in how justice is applied. After a live stream on social media, he was swiftly arrested, prosecuted, and sentenced to 7 months in prison. Much as the law must be applied, we must ask, is the state equally swift when government-affiliated individuals commit similar or worse infractions? Not long before this incident, during the Akwetia by-election, the NDC National Vice Chairman, Sofo Azoka, openly declared that there will be by-election in my constituency. That was a threat, plain and simple. Unlike in the case of Kwame Nkrumah II, the police have not taken action. Mr. Speaker, why is there no urgency on this matter? Why the speed in one case and silence in another? Justice must be seen to be done. Justice cannot be harsh on critics and lenient on those who are closer to power. The broader context deepens our concern. Mr. Speaker, on the 8th of September, the Bono Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Kwame Bafo Abronye, popularly known as Abronye DC, was arrested and detained on charges that appear politically motivated. The court ruling in this case raises deeper constitutional questions. In delivering judgment, the presiding judge, His Lordship Akwa, cited George Orwell's Animal Farm observing that, quote, all men are equal, but some are more equal than others, unquote. And went on to quote the late President Robert Mugabe, purportedly, quote, I can assure you of freedom of speech, but cannot assure you of freedom after speech, end quote. Mr. Speaker, these remarks to us as the minority, coming from the bench, convey an unsettling message that equality before the law and freedom of expression may no longer be treated as fundamental rights, but as privileges subject to interpretation and power. Such reasoning, if left unchecked, sets a worrying precedent for democratic governance and judicial independence. The use of Orwell and supposed quote from Mugabe to rationalize the restriction of free speech undermines the spirit of our Constitution, which guarantees every citizen the right to express opinion without fear of reprisal. Ghana's courts have long stood as the last line of defense for liberty, and any departure from that role risks eroding public confidence in justice itself. The minority, therefore, finds this trend dangerous and calls for restraint, reflection, and a renewed commitment to fairness, equality, and the true meaning of freedom under the rule of law. Mr. Speaker, the minority registers its unequivocal objection to the removal of the Chief Justice, Mrs. Gertrude Araba Esaba Saki Tokonu. We believe the process lacked transparency, violated constitutional principles, and set a dangerous precedent for judicial interference. 3 separate petitions were referred to the Puaman Committee. The committee only had 1 petition, then adjourned proceedings for continuation on the 15th of September. Yet, without notice to any party in the matter, the committee suddenly submitted a report on the 1st of September, and within 2 hours, an announcement was made of a removal. Was that adjournment a deception, Mr. Speaker? Even more troubling was a warrant of the suspension. It claimed to have made a prima facie determination, but to date, no one has seen such document, and this raises serious constitutional questions. The so-called Puaman report remains a secret document. We, the minority, shall not relent on our demand for a copy and a full disclosure of this report. Mr. Speaker, this matter goes beyond one individual. If this false and irregular process succeeds, it endangers every independent constitutional body. The Auditor General, the Electoral Commission, the National Commission for Civic Education, and even the Public Services Commission could be targeted next under the same Article 146 procedure. The question that must even be asked, that when a person is removed as a Chief Justice, that he or she remain a Justice of the Supreme Court. This will destroy the safeguards of accountability and erase the principle of probity from our governance. If judicial independence can be manipulated in this manner, we should not expect free or credible elections in future. Mr. Speaker, the judiciary is the last line of defense for our democracy, and any act that undermines its independence strikes at the heart of our constitutional order. The minority will resist any attempt to compromise the sanctity of the judiciary. Ghana's institutions must be protected from political manipulation, and we will not sit idly by while dangerous precedents are set. On the issue of illegal mining, we, the minority, are of the view that this represents one of Ghana's gravest governance challenges that has persisted across successive governments and which has escalated into a full-blown national crisis is the menace of illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. The devastation caused by galamsey to our environment, water bodies, and public health cannot be overstated. Even as we convene today, Mr. Speaker, our rivers run brown with pollution. Vast tracts of once fertile land lies carried and toxic, and many of our citizens in mining communities face illness and danger from poisonous chemicals. We have talked about illegal mining for years, yet the problem has only grown worse. Time for mere talk is over. We need decisive, visionary action now to save our country's future from disaster. Not long ago, we were warned. One such early warning came in 2010 when investigative journalist Anas Arimayel Anas released a documentary exposing the dark underbelly of Galamsey. That expose, part of the Africa Investigate series, shone a light on the tragic consequences of illegal mining that were already evident back then. The documentary recounted how in June 2010, a Galamsey pit near Dunkwa Onofin flooded, killing an estimated 150 people in a single disaster. It showed the rampant corruption and complicity that allowed Galamsey to flourish, including officials meant to enforce the law taking bribes to look the other way. It highlighted the environmental havoc being unleashed, rivers poisoned with mercury, cyanide and other toxins, local communities suffering flooding and pollution, fishermen and farmers losing their livelihood. Anas's work in 2010 was an early warning alert for our nation. Then again in 2015, Finance Minister Honorable Setekpe again brought this up at the Finance Committee hearing in Parliament when discussing reasons for the declining cocoa production in Ghana. Tragically, Mr. Speaker, those warnings were not heeded with the urgency and seriousness they deserved. Fast forward, today, the nightmare scenario is upon us. Just last month, new study by Pure Earth and Ghana's own EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, revealed terrifying data about toxin levels in mining communities. In some areas, mercury contamination in the soil is 134 times above safe levels, and arsenic concentration are over 4,000% higher than what the WHO deems safe. These poisonous metals are seeping into the water, into food crops, into the very bodies of our people. Doctors are reporting an uptick in children from mining areas developing kidney disorders and even finding mercury pellets in their x-rays. Children, Mr. Speaker, now require dialysis because of the poisonous fruits of Galamsey. Our nation's future is being sickened and stunted. Mr. Speaker, despite being Ghana's top gold producer, the surge in unregulated small-scale mining has created an underground economy that drains national resources and benefits criminal networks. In just 8 months this year, small-scale gold exports surged to over $6.3 billion, according to the CEO of Ghana Gold Board. However, much of this trade is believed to be illicit. The state loses billions in revenue while communities suffer environmental devastation. The minority stands with all Ghanaians, calling for decisive action. We welcome the advocacy from civil society and religious leaders, and we support real solutions from tougher laws to sustainable alternatives. Mr. Speaker, we must also admit that the situation has worsened since this government came into office. At the 2025 May Day celebrations, organized labor, speaking through its Secretary General, confronted this matter with deep disappointment that the Galamsey menace has worsened under the watch of this government, barely 5 months into its administration. TUC's position was again echoed by the acting Chief Justice, Justice Paul Bafuboni, at the GBA conference in Wa, where he also described the crisis as worsening. Mr. Speaker, when labor and the judiciary raise their voices together, we must listen because these are not partisan voices. Mr. Speaker, the time to act is now. If we fail to protect our rivers, land, and communities, we risk failing an entire generation. Mr. Speaker, during the recess, a foreign policy development came to light regarding an agreement between the government of Ghana and the United States to accept some deportees. Mr. Speaker, the agreement of such magnitude, in our view, and we respectfully submit, should be subject to the parliamentary scrutiny under Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution. We therefore demand that this arrangement be brought before Parliament for ratification. Ghana's foreign policy must never be conducted in secrecy, nor should we compromise our sovereignty for expediency. We urge the government to always place Ghana's dignity first and ensure that any international agreement reflects our values and command the confidence of the Ghanaian people. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, it is worth emphasizing that Ghana's story is of triumphs achieved through visionary leadership and the indomitable spirit of our people. The New Patriotic Party, during its time in government, championed bold initiatives that delivered tangible progress. We rolled out the free SHS policy, which opened doors for secondary education to youth from all walks of life. We pursued industrialization through 1D, 1F program, establishing 169 new factories nationwide and creating nearly 170,000 jobs for our citizens, constructing over 13,000 kilometers of roads, championing STEP, making TVET education free, with all TVET institutions being facelifted. Mr. Speaker, this is the record of the previous government. Under MPP stewardship, Ghana's democracy deepened and economy grew to the extent that the world took notice. We therefore urge this government to walk the talk and by being bold with policy implementation. Enough of the rhetoric of 24-hour economy. We've had one job, 3 shifts. Enough of it. We want the reality to be seen on the streets of Accra. Finally, Mr. Speaker, we cannot afford to lose hope. Our nation has weathered many storms, and each time we have emerged stronger. The minority will continue to be the voice and the shield of the people in this august house. Though we are 87, we assure the people of Ghana that we are firm in our conviction and will be able to hold this supermajority to account. We don't believe in numbers, we believe in substance, and will confront you with substance. Mr. Speaker, we are a proud, mighty few. Mr. Speaker, we are a proud, mighty few who will speak truth to power and work tirelessly. Mr. Speaker, guided by discipline, hard work, and our faith in God. And Mr. Speaker, and inspired by your own hard work, when your party lost in 2000, you led a charge with fewer numbers, and within a short period, you made progress. We also inspired by what we saw in 2016, said that by 2020, your side had made progress. We believe in that same dream that come 2028, the minority will be the majority. Mr. Speaker, let us all be in President Akufo-Addo's words, be citizens, not spectators. Mr. Speaker, I thank you so much for your kind audience, and I thank colleagues for indulging.
Right Honorable Speaker Alban Sumana, Kingsford, Bagby, the Honorable Deputy Speakers, honorable colleague, members of parliament, representing the 276 constituencies presently constituting the House, the Clerk of Parliament, and the parliamentary staff, by the grace of the Almighty, we're all here and you are welcome back to this House for the third meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament. We have been duly summoned back by our most able Right Honorable Speaker, who remains a pillar of parliamentary democracy in the annals of our democracy's history. We continue to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your continued defense of the independence and autonomy of this House as a coordinate branch of government. I begin on a very solemn note. We must start by remembering our colleagues who died in that tragic helicopter crash of the 6th of August 2025. The Right Honorable Speaker has already mentioned their names, but suffice it to add that two were particularly close to us. The Honorable Dr. Edward Kofi Omane-Boama, a non-voting member of this House and the then Minister for Defense, and Honorable Alhaji Dr. Murtala Ibrahim, the then Member of Parliament for Tamale Central and Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. The other distinguished Ghanaians who perished in the fatal accident have all been mentioned, and I will urge colleagues to remember them in their prayers. And on behalf of colleagues in this House, let me extend our condolences to the families of the bereaved and urge all of us to support the efforts to maintain their children. A minute of silence has already been observed in remembrance of our colleagues. Let me thank this House for that. Right Honorable Speaker, this loss occasioned a by-election in the Tamale South, and in addition to an earlier loss of our colleague, which also occasioned another by-election in Akwatia. Mr. Speaker, in the two by-elections, the National Democratic Congress, NDC party, won the elections. Mr. Speaker, winning Akwatia about 8 months in office signals the growing popularity of the NDC in government and general public positive rating of the government of the NDC under President John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, with these two elections and the one that took place in Ablekuma, this House is now fully constituted. The independent members of this House remain 4. The NPP, which previously had a micro minority of 88, has had its number shrink further to 87. Mr. Speaker, I believe they are no longer a micro minority, but a minuscule minority. Mr. Speaker, Micro could actually be a large number because micro is a unit of measurement. 1 million can actually be micro when you are evaluating 1 billion. In English, when you want to describe something as very small, you say minuscule. The NDC supermajority will balloon to 185, and when we add our numbers to the 4 independents who have agreed to do business with us, the NDC will become a gargantuan majority. All I can say is, Mr. Speaker, so far, so excellent. During recess, MPs had the opportunity to observe the impact of work we did during our previous meetings, the budget we approved, the laws we passed, and the policies underpinning them. Our engagements revealed the persistent, urgent need to address youth unemployment. We must ensure that our laws and the policies that we enact create jobs. Ghana's population still remains very young. Citizens aged 15 to 35 make up over 38% of the population and 60% of the labor force. They face enormous barriers to economic inclusion. Indeed, they want jobs. In the 2024 Afrobarometer report of the CDD, concerns about unemployment was the topmost concern of most Ghanaians. This was followed by the management of the economy and then infrastructure. During this meeting of Parliament, members will focus on reviewing job creation policies of the various sectors. We propose to hold a special parliamentary hearing on the extractive industries with a view to exploring the impact on beneficial national economic development, overall benefit to the country, and in particular, the extent to which local content legislation are being enforced to create jobs for Ghanaians and ownership of the extractive industries. Every sector of our economy has a job creation potential, and our debates and deliberations in this meeting will focus on how this Parliament would hold sector heads accountable for ensuring that jobs are indeed created to the benefit of the Ghanaian youth. In this regard, most committees will be requested to conduct hearings on the extent of job creation policies and programs of the various sectors so we can enhance efforts towards job creation. Indeed, during the recess, we had the opportunity for committees to engage in field visits and engage with interest groups and governmental agencies, and we observed firsthand the impacts of the financial budget and economic policies and legislation we passed in the previous meetings of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, I am proud to say that so far, so excellent. The energy sector is doing very well, and electricity has remained on and powering growth. So far, so excellent. The economy is rebounding, and Ghana once again is gaining economic respectability globally. So far, so excellent. The Ghana city is gaining strength and stabilizing. So far, so excellent. Inflation has come down to single digit, and prices are coming down, and life is becoming affordable to the ordinary Ghanaian. So far, so excellent. We are paying our debts, and at the same time, we are not accumulating needless debts. So far, so excellent. We are spending on the right things, and within our means, we are spending, but spending wisely. So far, so excellent. Our schools are functioning well, and free HSS is well funded, and we have not experienced any disruption of the school year calendar in our constituencies during our recess. Let me repeat, our schools are functioning well, and free SHS is well funded, and we have not experienced any disruption of schools or school calendar in our constituencies. So far, so excellent. Mr. Speaker, the NHIA has paid a total of 2.84 billion Ghana cedis in claims to accredited healthcare providers across the country. This represents the most consistent payment trend since the scheme's inception. The NDC are the best implementers of social intervention schemes. As I address you, there are no arrears outstanding. Claim payments are now up to date, with reimbursements made monthly, a marked improvement from previous years when payments delayed for several months. This improvement has restored confidence among healthcare providers, stabilized service delivery, and enhanced the scheme's credibility across all regions. Additionally, the uncapping of the NHIL by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has released an additional 3.4 billion Ghana cedis to the NHIE, marking a historic fiscal breakthrough that secures sustainable funding for timely claims payment, expansion of coverage, and implementation of flagship reforms such as free primary health care and Mahama Cares. So far, so excellent. Mr. Speaker, the health insurance scheme is on track to reach an unprecedented 20 million active members by end of year 2025. So far, so excellent. Our hospitals and health facilities are being well funded, and Mr. Speaker, I can only say good things will happen to this country. Our metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies are very well financially lubricated, with prompt transfers of 80% of the common fund allocations. Total disbursement for the first quarter of 2025 was 711,334,852 Ghana cedis and 56 pesos. That's the first quarter. Second quarter 2025 disbursement was also completed on 21st August 2025, and this was 1,318,484,908 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, these disbursements are boosting local economies, as procurements which must be done at that level are being done to create local jobs and opportunities. So far, so excellent. Many progressive initiatives we approved in this House in the last meetings have been launched on course and are on course. Notably, the big push in road infrastructure is on course. So far, so excellent. Mr. Speaker, Info Analytics did some polls released on July 1st, 2025, and they revealed that 70% of Ghanaians believe the country is on the right track. 70% of Ghanaians believe the country is on the right track. So far, so excellent. As of September 2025, Global Info Analytics Survey found 58% believed the government was doing enough to fight against corruption, and 53% said corruption had improved. So far, so excellent. A similar report of Info Analytics in 2024 revealed that 65% of Ghanaians believe that the country was heading in a wrong direction. There is a clear turnaround in how Ghanaians perceive their country and their government now. We must stay the course in this direction, and the work of this meeting of Parliament must keep the pressure on our executive arm of government to keep delivering. In this regard, I want to assure Ghanaians that the overwhelming NDC majority will not treat our counterparts in the executive with kid gloves. We will continue to demand performance and delivery of promises made in our manifesto. Bipartisanship shall be our hallmark, so we will tolerate our minuscule minority and heed sound and genuine criticism. Mr. Speaker, this is a budget meeting. We will be receiving the 2026 budget statement in due course, but the signs of a very positive development are already clear. 95% of Ghanaians in a survey conducted by professional service firm PwC in July 2025 believe the country's macroeconomic performance in the first half of the year has met or exceeded expectations. 95% of Ghanaians believe that our macroeconomic performance, yes, our macroeconomic performance has met or exceeded expectations. Indeed, even members of the MPP cannot deny the fact that the indicators are looking very, very good. So far, so excellent. Mr. Speaker, we in the NDC are governing well. The president of Imani, Franklin Kujo, on July 5th, 2025, strongly endorsed President John Dramani Maham's recent decision to scrap fuel allowances and allocations for all political appointees, describing it as a wonderful initiative. So many wonderful initiatives that should be codified into law to prevent future reversals. So far, so excellent. On October 10th, 2025, the IMF stated that Ghana's economy is rebounding faster than anticipated, with macroeconomic stabilization taking root, following a strong performance in the first half of 2025, underpinned by strong services activity, agricultural output, and others. So far, so excellent. The IMF has also lauded Ghana on recent stabilization of the cedi, noting that the development signals improvement in the country's economic fundamentals, renewed policy credibility, and investor confidence. So far, so excellent. On May 7, 2025, Bloomberg rated the Ghana cedi as the best performing currency in the second quarter. Bloomberg rated the Ghana cedi as the best performing currency in the second quarter. So far, so excellent. The positive endorsement of policies and programs this House approved keep coming locally and internationally. During a high-level meeting in Washington, D.C., the African Development Bank President, Dr. Sidi Ulta, described the gold board under the new President John Dramani Mahama-led administration as a timely innovation that aligns with the African Development Bank's efforts to promote responsible resource management and fiscal sustainability. So far, so excellent. The economist, chartered accountant, and banker, Dr. Akwesi Ajiman, in his mid-year economic review of 2025, stated that Ghana's political reset in 2025 has coincided with an unmistakable economic rebound. Inflation is easing, the Ghana cedi has steadied, business activity is picking up, and this grants the new administration its first real chance to rewrite the country's stop-start growth story. Mr. Speaker, to cap it all, Mr. Speaker, we are going to the World Cup in America. So far, so excellent. So much has been achieved so far within a short time, but a lot remains to be done. We are not out of the woods yet, and many things must change. Recently, we placed senior high school students. The lobby to get into grade A schools reveals a malaise that must be fixed in our educational sector. There must be no grade A school and no grade B schools. We spend equally on all teachers in all schools. We in this parliament must do whatever it takes to fix all schools and demand equal performance. We pay equally to all schools. This House must begin to demand accountability and the greatest standards of performance from all our services: education service, health service, judicial service, and all the public services of Ghana. Reforming attitudes there must engage our attention. The reset agenda must permeate our public services. Mr. Speaker, the story of Ghana is now being told in a positive light on all international platforms. The reset agenda of President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC party is on course. This House will sustain the agenda in this meeting. We will demand accountability for past acts of corruption and abuse of power and gross mismanagement of the economy. We will demand the full implementation of the report of Operation Recover or Loot. Right, Honourable Speaker, my team has engaged the various sector ministers with a view to understand the weight of government business to be brought before us during this meeting. If they all receive the expected cabinet approvals, we could have a heavy legislative program in addition to the usual very involving consideration of the national budget. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Health has planned to seek approval for some legislation, including regulations, the National Health Insurance Regulations, National Vaccine Institute Regulation, Ghana Medical Trust Fund Regulation, Allied Health Professional Council Regulations, and others. The Minister of Education will seek the passage of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, change of university names. Mr. Speaker, there's been a cabinet directive to change the names of all the universities that were changed to individuals back to the names that they were given. A bill will be brought to this House to change and reverse all the changes of the names of the universities. Mr. Speaker, the ministry will also seek this House approval for the passage of the Ghana Book Development Council Bill, the University of Engineering and Agricultural Science Bonsu Bill, College of Education Amendment Bill, Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply Chain Bill, the National Teaching Council Regulations, National Council for Curriculum and Assessment Regulations, National Schools Inspectorate Authority Regulations, Ghana Tertiary Education Commission Regulations, and others. The Ministry of Transport will seek passage of the Road Traffic Amendment Bill, the Road Traffic Amendment Regulations, Road Traffic Amendment, Ghana Shippers Authority Regulations, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority Bill, ratification of the African Road Safety Charter, and others. The Minister of Interior will seek the expeditious passage of the Security Intelligence Agencies Bill, the Immigration Service Amendment Regulations, Prison Service Parole Regulations, and the Gaming Regulations, Diaspora Birthright Certificate Bill, Community Service Bill, and the Extradition Bill. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources will want us to ratify a number of mining leases. These will include the ratification of mining leases in respect of Pesos Mining Ghana Limited, Clean Jobs Ghana Limited, TMC Limited, GM Group of Companies Limited, Golden Star Wasa Limited, Zagog Gold Limited, Gadriato Group of Companies Limited, Maripoma Mining Services Limited, and Bari Bari DV Ghana Limited. They also program to bring before us the Wildlife Resource Management Regulations 2025. Right, Honourable Speaker, let me at this juncture mention that whilst we were away on recess, the issue of illegal mining, referred to as Galamsey, became very topical. His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama spoke to the nation in a media interaction and outlined progress made so far for the multiple approaches of government to deal with this matter. During this meeting, this House will build the needed collaboration and coalition of MPs to join the fight against Galamsey. After all, it is happening in our various constituencies and by our various constituents. We perhaps hold the key to solving this problem. In this regard, we will demand full accountability of the Minerals Commission and the Environmental Protection Agencies in the way mining prospecting licenses are awarded and leases issued and the environmental implications thereof. Right, Honourable Speaker, the Minister of Foreign Affairs has some international agreements which we will be called upon to consider for ratification. Some are the visa waiver agreements between the government of the Republic of Ghana and the Republic of Algeria, Republic of Angola, and the Republic of Serbia. Headquarters agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana and Afrobarometer, and the presidential initiative to offer 1,000 tertiary scholarships to ECOWAS citizens, waiver of import duties and other taxes on vehicles for foreign service officers and analogous appointees, establishment and implementation of Ghana Diaspora Bond Program, and membership in the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa Alliance. That's the BRICS Alliance. Let me mention that the issue of the need for parliamentary ratification of the agreement with the United States to receive ECOWAS citizens being repatriated back to the sub-region has been widely debated. If the appropriate legal advice to this House is that we should ratify it, we will consider so. But I can say with authority that the majority approves of the arrangement and highly commends government for negotiating the removal of the U.S. visa restrictions on Ghanaians Given our business and social ties with America, these restrictions were going to be extremely burdensome to many Ghanaian businesses and families. The Ministry of Land, Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs will seek the passage of the Local Governance Amendment Bill, Coastal Development Authority Repeal Bill, Middle Belt Development Authority Repeal Bill, and the program that the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition include the ratification and passage of National Petroleum Authority Bill, ratification of petroleum agreements in respect of Block GHB 01 involving the Government of Ghana, GNPC, GNPC Exploco, and TriStar Upstream Oil and Gas Limited. They will also seek the passage of the Nuclear Power Corporation Bill and then the Renewable Energy Authority Bill and the establishment of the Ghana Energy Regulatory Commission. They will also seek the passage of the West African Gas Pipeline Amendment Regulations. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection will passage of the Affirmative Action Gender Equity Regulations 2025 and the Social Protection Regulations. The Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice has a tall legislative program. They include the passage of the Tribunals Bill, the Legal Education Reform Bill, the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, Economic and Organized Crime Amendment Bill, Ghana Intellectual Property Office Bill, Interstate Succession Bill, Legal Profession Bill, Notaries Public Amendment Bill, State Property and Contracts Amendment Bill, Court of Appeal Rules, Economic and Organized Crime Office Operations Regulations, Economic and Organized Crime Office Terms and Conditions of Service Regulations, High Court Civil Procedure Amendment Rules, Interpretation Regulations, Legal Aid Commission Regulations, and others. Minister of Sports and Recreation will bring the following for consideration: the Sports Fund Bill, Sports Fund Regulations, National Sports College Bill, Anti-Doping Regulations, and others. The Ministry of Defense plans to have us consider the National Defense University Bill and the Defense Industrial Development Corporation Bill. I cannot list entirely the legislative program. It promises to be weighty. I therefore urge colleagues to dedicate time and energy to the task ahead of us in this meeting. But I must mention that once again, we will have an opportunity to vet a nomination to the position of Chief Justice of Ghana. It shall definitely be a momentous occasion. Need I say that the nominee should prepare to earn the approval of this House. Right Honorable Speaker, to ensure greater efficiency, I have engaged with colleague leadership of the minuscule minority, and we have agreed that this meeting will always schedule government business before personal business. That way we will ensure that MPs come on time, we transact government business first, and then afterwards we move to individual statements, MPs, questions to ministers. We believe that this will even be convenient for MPs given the fact that we now have our own television channel and enjoy live coverage. This parliament has many new members. I urge you not to stop learning. Please sit in the House and observe and learn. Build your capacity to participate effectively, and do participate effectively. You can only learn by practice. Right Honorable Speaker, as usual, we count on your continued guidance. You know it all, and under your guidance, we cannot go astray. Let me congratulate you for Ghana's parliament once again being adjudged the most open parliament in Africa by the Africa Open Parliament Index. (2022). All this bears testimony to your remarkable leadership, Mr. Speaker, and foresight in managing this noble institution. Congratulations, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I welcome you back to this House for the third meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament. May the Almighty God direct our every step, and may the work we will do together in this meeting make Ghana great and strong. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I'm sure you have observed a facelift in the chamber that you are now occupying. You can see there's a facelift. And I want to thank the clerk and our supporting staff for implementing this decision of the board. And you have also observed that just behind me, our traditional attire, our own hand-woven cloths are distinguished, and you can see there have been also a renewal of those majestic cloths. I think you have read that I led a delegation, including the second Deputy Speaker and some members of staff, to at least share our condolences with the King of Ashanti, Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II, for the loss of our mother, the Queen Mother. You will have read that we did make a request, because this was the gracious presentation of His Majesty the King, when the Parliament started in January 1993. They had lost some favor, and so we appealed to him if he could graciously come and renew them, and he immediately accepted and directed that it be done. The next day, to our surprise, the team was down here in Accra, and you can see a complete, fresh renewal of those majestic cultural display of our talents. I want to take this opportunity to appreciate the efforts and the gracious support of His Excellency Otumfuo Osei II. He has done tremendously well, and he will continue to be the father of all. And we know his passion in multi-party democracy. He has been a guide to all of us, particularly somebody like me as a speaker of the 8th and the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. Honorable members, I want just to draw your attention to the names and meaning of what you have behind me. I myself is very challenged, and so if my pronunciation offends your ears, kindly forgive me, because I'm of a different ethnic group. But these kente cloths are of two types. One is called Ejunse Ejunso. emphasizes the unity of Africa and the Arab world. In fact, that was one of the visible steps that Nkrumah took to try to unite the states in Africa by personally moving beyond the shores of Ghana to Mali from Egypt. Honorable members, I think you will assist me, as I said, to thank His Royal Majesty for his gracious support to the House. I will, on your behalf, send a fitting thank you message to His Excellency. But let me add that the second Deputy Speaker has been so helpful in these matters. In fact, he has led me a number of times to pay homage to His Excellency, the King of Asante. And we've always had very fruitful discussions, and it's always been a source of strength and wisdom to some of us. Please kindly accept my thanks, my colleague, good brother, second Deputy Speaker, for what you are doing to us. With this, I want to invite the first Deputy Speaker to take the chair